Hey there.
I see people logging on. Thank you. I think you'll really like this. It's going to be fun. I'm going to wait another minute because I know other people have things to go to after. So, hello. Yay. That's right. Okay, so I think we'll start. Again, this is going to be recorded, so if you're not able to see the whole thing or have to leave early, you'll be able to get the great information. I'm Carol with Vista Curated Travel, and together, John,
Hi.
we formed Travel with Jon and Carol. So as part of this, we're sailing on the AmaWaterways in October on the Romantic Danube. And tonight we have Brandon with us and with AmaWaterways, and he's going to be sharing information about wonderful river cruising and also the great company of AmaWaterways. So I am going to give him, because he's got pictures and great things for us, I'm going to give him control. Maybe.
It's never a good thing. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, but I need to make him host. And then I will, do you want to? Yes, I do. And I will mute us and take it away.
All right. And let's see here. There we go. All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Brandon. I am the Business Development Manager for AmaWaterways, based out of Arizona, but I do cover a few different states. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is actually a really exciting time to join us because it was just a week ago now that we announced that we are going to start selling again. Everyone's been talking about the light at the end of the tunnel. We are there. The light is upon us all. So what we're going to talk about is even more exciting. So we're going to talk about the going on the Danube this October. Carol has put together a great little group opportunity. But before that, I don't always jump right into the itinerary. I really want to kind of give you a feel of who AmaWaterways is, how we operate. You'll hear me use the word unique a lot. We do so many things differently in this industry. We set ourselves apart in a lot of different ways. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. First and foremost, here is a map of all of the destinations that AmaWaterways sells around the world. As you can see, our primary focus is in Europe, but we also cruise along the Mekong Delta through Vietnam and Cambodia. We cruise the Chobe River in Africa, and we're actually the only river cruise line that does a river cruise combined with safari in Africa. There is nobody else out there that does this. And we have 5 different safari options available that you can combine with your river cruise. And starting this September, we'll be cruising on the Nile River in Egypt. Now, since we're talking about the Romantic Danube today, I didn't put information on these itineraries in there. I will tell you, if you are interested in Egypt and it's on your bucket list of things to do, definitely reach out to Carol. We are doing so many unique things in Egypt. It is a next level itinerary. And I have had verified through a couple of different Egyptologists that we are doing things that nobody else will do, just because of the cost to add them to the itinerary is quite expensive and just nobody else does it. And we add it. You don't have to pay extra. We just put it in there. But enough about Egypt. Let's talk about AmaWaterways as a company. Something really neat and exciting that I can share is last year, from July 1st until about mid-November, we were the only US-based river cruise line that was able to operate over in Europe. Now, we only had one ship selling. It was a charter with a German company. So they were running 5-night cruises up and down the Rhine River. And it was very successful. Now, I do say US-based river cruise line because there are European companies that were operating last year. I think in total, there were about 53 river cruise vessels operating throughout the European waterways, but we were the only company based out of the US that was able to do this. And the reason this is so nice to share is it really does give us an edge as we get ready to start again this July. Now, we did have a lot of different unique mandates in place, and some of these are going to be in place until further notice. From what I understand, Things are continuing to unfold, but right now Europe is saying, do what you did last year, which means we can only have 100 people on board a ship. Normally it's 156 max, but we're at 100. There's nothing wrong with an intimate river cruise. And masks were only worn when you were moving from your stateroom to a common area. Once you got into those common areas, we were set up to be socially distant. Temperature checks when you're getting back on the ship, that's still going to be in place for a little bit longer. We will definitely be sanitizing your luggage before it goes to your room. And one of the things that I will definitely talk about, because this will never change because it's just the way it is, the number one question we were asked while this was all happening was, do you have fresh air coming in, or is it recirculated air on your ships? The way our ships were designed from the very, very beginning, back when we started, every single room, every individual stateroom has its own heating and cooling coil system. So fresh air is coming from outside indoors at all times. And one other thing that is also important to mention with this system, it is not a forced air system. So that means that the air that you're breathing can never get pushed into a room around you. It's always just kind of flowing in and falling into the room. So we have all of our safety measures in place. The best thing you can really do is go to amawaterways.com/travel-updates. If you didn't jot that down, you don't remember it, YouTube. If you look us up, it's the very first video that comes up. It's a 5-minute video with our safety protocols that we had in place. But even more exciting, it's the guests who were actually selling last year talking about their experience. They had an amazing time. We actually had one couple come back and do 5 sellings with us. They were just excited to be able to travel again. And they had that wonderful AMA experience. Now, really quickly, I'll just throw it out there. I know a lot of times I hear AMA, I hear AMA, I hear AMA. It is actually AMA. And AMA is derived from, well, it was originally Amadeus, but AMA is the part that means love, from amare or amore. So AMA means love, and it really does speak for how we operate. And for any of you who may have sailed with us before, you will know that love and that family experience that you have. Another thing that makes us such an incredible company, it's the leadership of AmaWaterways. The president of our company, his name is Rudy Schreiner. They call him the godfather of river cruising. And it is because all of the innovations that have come to this industry are because of him. He was the very first person to put French balconies on river cruise vessels. He was the very first person to put verandas on river cruise vessels. In 2019, we launched a completely new type of river cruise vessel. This was Rudy's design. Rudy's an architect by trade. It was our Ama Magna on the Danube, double the width, but we only added 40 additional guests. So you have a ship that is double the size of any other river cruise vessel that's out there, and it holds 196 people. That is an absolutely incredible vessel. Time Magazine voted it as one of the world's greatest places, and USA Today voted it as the best river cruise ship out on the waters. And I have been on a lot of river cruises. I will tell you, it is definitely the creme de la creme of river cruise vessels. If you want more information, again, reach out to Carol. She knows AmaWaterways very well. She and I speak quite often, and I know that she'll be able to steer you in the right direction. Just real quick, again, with the Ama Magna, the reason we only added fewer staterooms and made them really large is we were looking at people who have been on ocean cruises before. So the average size stateroom for this ship is 355 square feet. So moving on to our twin balcony stateroom vessels, the type of vessel that you will be sailing on board our cruise, the Romantic Danube. This is going to be an entry-level stateroom, the category D or E. It's going to be 170 square feet on board the AmaBella. And as you can see, you have large picture windows that span across the stateroom up at the top there. Now the stateroom is partially underwater, but those windows never go under. You don't get to do the Jacques Cousteau exploration of the Danube. I like to call them our swan view. And then one of a very popular categories we have, it's our category C. On the AmaBella, these are all 170 square feet. You have sliding glass doors that open up nice and wide, the span of the stateroom so you can get fresh air in. We have rails right there and a table and a couple of chairs. So if you want to sit there in the morning and have a cup of coffee and get some fresh air, you can absolutely do that. Now, when I say twin balcony, not everybody knows what I'm talking about, and it is a unique term to the river cruise industry. This is a twin balcony stateroom, and what it means is on your right-hand side, you have a French balcony. So these are just sliding glass doors that open up, and you can't step out onto it. It's just as soon as you open them up, there's a rail there to keep you nice and safe inside of your stateroom. On the left-hand side, you have your own private veranda from within your stateroom. So with our twin balconies, you're looking at a 210 square foot stateroom or 235 square feet. And then with our suites, they are 355 square feet. Now, unique to AmaWaterways, I know it says quad accommodations there, and that is accurate. We can accommodate a family of 4 here, but we're partnered with Adventures by Disney. So our categories AA and AB, they're 235 square feet. We'll put a twin size sofa bed in there and we'll accommodate triples. And in the suites, we will accommodate triples, and that is unique to AmaWaterways. Nobody else does that. But Disney, they will put families of 4 in our suites. So if you're looking to travel with us and you have a third person that might want to come with you and you don't want to pick up another stateroom, a suite is a great idea. 355 square feet is quite spacious. And that is a queen size sofa bed right there. Now, just to clarify, the Adventures by Disney, you would have to book an Adventures by Disney cruise on our ship. There's no way you're going to book a cruise with us and then end up with a Disney group. They have their own private charters. So again, the word unique is coming out because in this industry, we have the fastest Wi-Fi in all of Europe. And that is because we're the only company that is invested in a 4G network. We actually spend more on Wi-Fi in Europe than we do on fuel for our entire fleet around the world. And as a matter of fact, we're actually in the process of getting information on putting 5G on all of our ships because we know technology is changing and we know that the people selling with us are used to having these comforts at home. And we also realize that most of you have smartphones or tablets. When you go on your excursions, you're going to take a lot of pictures. When you get on the ship, you have that internet access. You can share with your friends and family back home, fast and easy and reliable, just like you are, it is when you are at home. Now, something else really neat that we launched a couple of years ago, and this is a lot of fun. It is our My Ama Cruise app. And the reason this is so great, so about a month before you go on your trip with us, you're going to go ahead and install this app on your phone. You can put the email address of friends and family in the app. And as you arrive in ports, the app will automatically send them an email with where you are and the history and a little bit of information about where you're stopping for the day. So you're keeping people up to date without even having to really send them anything. It's just automatically doing it. Also, the thing that I love about it the most, even more so for me, so every day you do get a detailed itinerary left on your bed each evening as you're dining. And it's going to have your hour by hour the next day. Well, rather than having to carry that sheet of paper around with you, it is automatically downloaded onto your phone so that you have the hour by hour in the palm of your hand. You don't have to carry around a sheet of paper. So again, usually you'll install this about a month before your trip. You pop your booking number in and it'll populate your itinerary with all of the information about your sailing. So you're going to get to experience some really amazing culture with your excursions and the places that we're taking you to. But we also want you to have incredible cultural experiences while you're on board with us. So in the evenings when you're done dining, we will bring local singers, dancers, and musicians from the areas that we're cruising through on board. Again, to just give you that elevated cultural experience. Now, I will tell you my favorite way to experience a culture is by tasting the culture. And you will get a lot of that while you're on board with us. It's actually really funny. With all of the scores and the ratings that we receive, the thing that gets the highest score across the board every time that hits that #1 mark, it is always our dining experience. We really do have unparalleled dining in this industry. And we realized that guests who are fed well are pretty happy in general. So food is key here. We're members of La Chaîne de Rôtisseurs. They are the most prestigious culinary organization in the world, and the meals on board, they are absolutely fantastic. And we do offer 2 separate dining venues. Up at the front of the ship, you're going to have your main dining room. This is where you're going to have cuisine from the areas that you're cruising through for lunch and dinner. Breakfast, you'll find very standard breakfast option. Now, just an update, due to COVID, what you're looking at in the middle used to be a buffet station. With breakfast and lunch, you could have a sit-down menu and buffet. You know, the buffet was there. We were looking at getting rid of it before COVID because the president of the company, Rudy, he said, you know, we're a luxury experience. He's like, what luxury experiences do you walk into that offer you a buffet? Not many. So, and also with buffets, a lot of food gets wasted, and we are a very, very green company. We're actually the only river cruise line in all of Europe that has true green awards for everything that we do on board, down to the new technology in our engines. So we're certified green. But back to the dining, there are no more buffets. What we're looking at in the center of the dining room, rather than putting more tables and chairs in there, we left it there. And since all the ships were off the water last year, we converted them to cooking stations. So these are action stations right in the center of your dining area. Say that when you sit down to have dinner, as your hors d'oeuvre is going to come out, or breads or little things like that, they're going to be prepared right in the center there. So you can actually converse with the chefs and see them doing their work. Now, this is one of the most exciting dining experiences on board. This is our chef's table. It is at the aft of the ship. It does only accommodate 28 guests at a time, but everyone gets a chance to dine here, and there's no extra charge. This is included with your cruise. There's a glass partition between the kitchen and the dining room. You can actually see the chefs preparing your meal. And the reason this is such a special experience, you don't look at a menu. This is a European style tasting. So once everybody is seated at your table, they will bring out 3 small hors d'oeuvres. From there, we move on to champagne with sorbet soaking in it, a little bit of a palate cleanser. Moving on to your entree, but it's usually 2 small entrees, so you can try a couple of different things. And then we finish up with 2 to 3 small desserts, and we pair this with 3 different wines throughout the evening. I will tell you, this is almost everybody's favorite meal on board. This is a truly special dining experience. It is a set menu. It doesn't change. If you want to go back and do it again, you can, but it'll be the same meal that you had the time before. The only variances might be some of the fresh produce that the chefs picked up in the town that you were in that morning, because the chefs you see right there, they literally get off the ship each morning, go into town and bring fresh produce on every day. You got to think, a kitchen on a river cruise vessel isn't huge. We don't have space to store or freeze anything. So everything on board is always fresh. We don't even have freezers. I think we have little tiny freezers we can keep some ice cream in, but that's about all we can really freeze on board these ships. So really quickly, just to let you know, if you have a dietary restriction, we can accommodate anything. Gluten-free, dairy-free, low sodium, food allergies, you name it, all meals are prepared to order. Just do us a favor, give Carol a heads up before you get on the ship so we can let the maitre d' know. They'll actually come to your table before you even call on them to let you know what's safe and available and what can be modified for you off of the menu. If you forget, don't worry about it. That just means they don't have a heads up before you get there. You can still let them know once you're on board. And when I tell you we can accommodate anything, I started off in reservations. I have heard everything under the sun when it comes to dietary restrictions. I met a woman with 33 food allergies, and she loves cruising with us because obviously she knows her food is safe, but above and beyond the safety, she's like, it's always delicious. Do you know how hard it is to get safe and delicious food when you have as many allergies as I do? So again, we're always going above and beyond. Now, something fun that we do that is kind of exciting and neat for me, we keep a detox water of the day up at the corner of the bar. And the reason I like this, I'm actually a certified health coach. I will tell you, this water that is infused with fruits, minerals, and herbs, it helps support your immune system. So when you're traveling and you're jet lagged, maybe having a few more drinks because you're on vacation, you're maybe a little more active because all of our excursions are included. You're going to be busy, you're going to be walking around, you're doing a lot. Little things like this can end up making big differences along the way. So do yourself a favor. It changes each day. Go up to the corner of the bar and try it out while you're on board with us. So for those who love wine, be it a wino or a wine connoisseur, not judging. I thought I was a wine connoisseur. I was told the other day. So we have phenomenal wines on board. So with AmaWaterways, with your lunch and dinner, we do include complimentary, free-flowing soda, beer, and wine. And the wines that we serve come from the regions we're cruising through. So your wines are changing daily from one region to another. Sometimes from lunch to dinner, you'll have different reds and whites because of the region change. So if you love wine, you're going to have some of the most amazing and unique wines you'll ever have with AmaWaterways. And cruising along the Danube, Austria is not really known for importing their wines, and they have some of the oldest vines in all of Europe. And I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth. I like the sweeter wines. Austria has some phenomenal wines, and they do like their wines to be just a little bit on the sweet side. Also in Hungary, the Hungarian reds are just absolutely spectacular. So along the Danube, you're going to get some really amazing wine selections. Now with breakfast, we serve complimentary juices. And since you're going to be on the Danube, it'll be a sparkling Riesling. The only place we serve champagne for breakfast is if you're cruising in France. The rest of our cruises, it's a sparkling Riesling. But I will tell you, this sparkling Riesling is so good that I brought a couple of bottles home for my wedding a few years ago. And that's what we used for our toast at our wedding. It is phenomenal. 24/7, you will have access to complimentary coffee, specialty coffee drinks, tea. We replenish bottled water to your room as often as you would like. When you're getting off the ship to go on excursions, we're going to give you a bottle of water. When you're coming back on the ship from your excursions, we're going to give you a hot or cold drink depending on the weather outside. And again, we're giving you a lot of water because we're trying to keep you hydrated. There are a lot of complimentary alcoholic beverages that are available to you on board. So along with your beer and wine with lunch and dinner, we have a complimentary cocktail hour. It is our sip and sell every evening before dinner. This is an amazing way to bring everybody up into the lounge. And now, I had mentioned river cruising is intimate with 100 people on board. I have been on 11 river cruises in the past 10 years, and I have never had more than 145 people on board with me. I get to know everybody on board, but as you can guess, I'm a very social person. I kind of get to know everybody and their grandchildren and their life story, but river cruising is intimate. And with this cocktail reception, everybody comes up to the lounge. You can socialize. This is also a great opportunity for your cruise manager to give you an idea of what's in store the next day. Yes, you have your My Ama Cruise app or your flyer with the detailed information, but these cruise managers have been on these rivers, some of them for 20 plus years. They know little ins and outs that they'll talk about that may just alter what you had planned on doing the next day. And it's because you're going to have choices of excursions, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Something unique with AmaWaterways, we do have a wellness program on board. So we have a wellness host on all of our European vessels. I actually have them on all of our vessels except for in Africa. There's just not enough room for one in Africa. In the morning at 7 a.m. and 7:30, they do complimentary fitness classes, yoga, core training, resistant band training, light stretching, Tai Chi, all kinds of different things that they bring to the table. And I have to laugh because I've been on a few cruises now with the wellness coaches, and I always come across one or two people who are like, I'm on vacation. There's no way you're going to find me working out at 7 o'clock in the morning. Not going to happen. That same person shows up for champagne yoga because everybody shows up for champagne yoga, and you will show up for champagne yoga. But I have to warn you, champagne yoga at 7:30 means nap time around 10:30 a.m. Now, I did mention that we have a variety of excursions to choose from. We have more included excursions than anybody else in the entire industry. And to give you an idea of what I think they said, it was more than 20 included excursions per 7-night sailing. And the way that we're able to do this, every single port we stop in, you have an included city tour, but your city tour gets divided because we have choices here of level of activity. We have a gentle walkers group. We have 2 regular pace walking groups, and we have an active walkers group. Active walkers aren't moving faster. It's not like the 80s speed walkers through the mall. No, this is going on hikes, taking on more challenging tasks. What we're looking at here, this is the city of Dürnstein. This is one of the beautiful towns that you're going to visit along the Danube. Now, Dürnstein is known for the Bergewijn Castle, and that's what we're looking at the back on the hill there. If you're going to take our active walkers tour in Dürnstein, you're going to hike up the stairs, and you can see them going up the front of the hill right there. You'll hike up those stairs and you'll go and explore the ruins of the Bergewijn Castle. Now, the reason this is so well known, this is where King Richard the Lionheart was held captive during his crusades. So it's a really great excursion, and the time of year you're going, the weather will be perfect if you feel like doing something a little more active. If you don't, Dürnstein is known for its apricots and apricot liqueurs. So definitely do the city tour. You can do an apricot liqueur tasting. We do a wine tasting here. There are a variety of different things that you can do while you're in Dürnstein. Now, above and beyond doing just the active excursions or the levels of activity, you have choices of excursions that are available to you. And here's an example right here. Bicycle excursions. We keep 25 bikes per European vessel. You can pre-book this through the My AmaCruise app once you register for your cruise with us, or you can just book it when you're on board. They don't really fill up. They're 25 bikes per vessel, and we have a guided bike tour at the front and back of the group. And the reason we put a tour guide at the front and back, we do have avid cyclists who love to travel with us, but we also have a lot of people who used to be avid cyclists 20, 30 years ago, who decide it's a great idea to do the 20-mile ride from Dürnstein to Melk, and somewhere along the way decide, you know what, maybe 2 miles in, I should go back to the ship. Well, somebody's going to take you back to the ship. We've got you covered. So let's talk about the Romantic Danube. I've been on this itinerary a few times, actually. I love the Danube. There are some beautiful, breathtaking cities that you're going to see while you're on the Danube. And Carol has a group organized for this year. There is space available. And if you are itching to get over to Europe, to get away from the last year and a half of sitting at home, not being able to travel, this is the time to do it. And she has selected our AmaBella. The AmaBella was our very first twin balcony vessel. She came out in 2010. For the last 4 years, our Australian partners have had her, and they've been, doing charters with her. And we got her back in 2019 the end of 2019 of all times to get her back, we got her back. So we said, you know what, we're going to completely refurbish. We took all of the decor, the carpet, the furniture, everything out, and did a full refurbish. And from what I have heard, and we don't have pictures yet because we haven't been allowed to send photographers on board, she is one of the most beautiful vessels in our entire fleet. So what a spectacular ship to be selected for this amazing itinerary. Now, the Romantic Danube does start off with a 3-night pre-land package in Prague. If you have not been to Prague, I would strongly encourage you to go. This is considered to be the most beautiful city in all of Europe. During World War II, it was completely untouched. And starting off in Prague is actually a really cool thing. It's nice to be jet lagged here because Prague can get a little busy during the day. And to wake up early, it's a sleepy city. People don't really get moving. If you're a photographer, amateur, professional, really good, really bad, anything in between, it's a great city to get up and go walk along and explore. And you have the Charles Bridge, which in the mornings, it's pretty much completely empty. But as you can see, here's your town square in front of you. Absolutely spectacular. Now, unique to AmaWaterways, when you arrive in Prague, your cruise manager will be sitting at the welcome desk of the hotel to greet you. Nobody else does this. They have a separate tour guide that does the hotel and the cruise manager on the cruise. this same person does the cruise and land with you. They will jump on a motor coach with you, head down. We stop in Pilsen, which is known for its Pilsner beers, for a nice little city tour. And then we head into the city of Wilshofen, Germany. This is the lower Bavarian part of Eastern Germany. Beautiful, charming town. Actually, I took this photo here in November of 2019 off of the Alma Magna. Just beautiful. Like I said, it's a very charming little town. You can walk into the town center in 3 minutes. You walk off the ship, you go up a nice little alleyway that has blue lights in the ground, and it'll take you right into the town center. You can go and explore. We don't have a city tour of Wilshofen because we take off the next morning, but every single embarkation here has an Oktoberfest. What you can't see on the other side of the ship here is a big giant beer tent that they have set up that is there year round. And they do an Oktoberfest right there for all of our guests. So this is how you're going to kick off your cruise with AmaWaterways. I'm not going to talk about every single stop along the way. There is something about the element of surprise for some of these places, but I'm going to talk about some really beautiful stops that you're going to see along the way. Passau, Germany is one of the first stops. I think it is the very first stop actually along the way. Passau is the city of 3 rivers. And I would strongly encourage you to do the active walkers tour here because you have so much free time to go and explore inside of town. The active walkers go up to the castle. This is where this picture was taken from. And you're literally just walking up stairs that are built into a hillside to explore the castle grounds here in Passau. And the reason you want to do this, the view from up top is breathtaking. And as you can see, 2 of these 3 rivers coming together right here are 2 totally different colors. And you can't see that when you're down walking along the river, but once you get up high, you can see the separation of the 2 rivers. Something interesting I will tell you, in Passau, you'll see numbers along the walls of all of the buildings. Well, as you can imagine, a city that has 3 rivers that flow through them, when it rains a lot, that water comes up over the river line, and those buildings have been underwater quite a few times. No time recently, but it has happened in the past. So Salzburg is not along the Danube. However, we stop in Linz, Austria, and from Linz, you've got some choices. You can get up in the morning and go on a city tour of Linz and then do a half day of Salzburg. But if you've never been to Salzburg, I would strongly encourage you to take the full day because as soon as you get there, you're going to wish that you had taken the full day. Linz is a very nice little Austrian town. It's known for its technology. It's more of an industrial town though. So it's pretty, but if you haven't been to Salzburg, there's so much to see and explore when you get here. Obviously known for where The Sound of Music was filmed. We do see these places where different parts of the film was made. Also, the birthplace of Mozart. You will see things that have to do with Mozart everywhere, which is actually very ironic considering that when Mozart was born and he was around and he was on the up and up, nobody in Salzburg cared. It wasn't until much later they're like, oh, Mozart's from here. So you'll find Mozart chocolates all over the place. But the thing you want to bring back with you is Mozart chocolate liqueur. It is a delicious liqueur that you will not find anywhere else. I literally bring it back to the ship. I pour it in my coffee. I pour it on my ice cream. I pour it straight down my mouth. It is absolutely phenomenal. Don't get one of the little bottles, get a larger bottle. I tell you this because I've been telling people this for so many years. Everyone who comes back with it absolutely loves it and wishes they would have brought one more bottle home with them. This is, again, another beautiful, charming town. If you do the full day excursion, you get a little more time with the tour guide. And when you're done, you'll have time to go and explore and grab a bite to eat. Now, in Salzburg, they have the very first independently owned brewery. And they have a wonderful restaurant there. It's up on a hillside with a breathtaking view of Salzburg. This is where you want to go when you're done with your tour. Along the way, we do visit the Melk Abbey. I mentioned that there is a bike ride. It's a 23-mile bike ride from Dürnstein to Melk. If you're up for it, you can do that. That is something available. And some of the people even beat the ship because the ships have to go through locks and it's a little bit slower. But this is one of the most highly revered monasteries in all of Europe. and we give you an included city tour here, or not city tour, tour of the Melk Abbey itself. And they actually have their very own guides inside. So an AmaWaterways tour guide, you'll get on a bus, you'll head on in, they'll take you up to the entryway and turn you over to one of the wonderful Abbey guides. And they'll take you through and show you the vast library, the beautiful paintings on the ceilings, and give you the history of this still working monastery to this day. I will share with you my first time there. It was on Easter Sunday, 2013, and I was able to stop for 5 minutes to watch the service, and I literally felt like I was in a movie. It was so spectacular. Now, again, the time of year you're going, don't take the motor coach ride back to the ship. It's actually very close to the Abbey. You can walk through the city of Melk right back to the ship, and it is a beautiful walk to get back to the vessel. Vienna, Austria. Before I talk about Vienna, I'm going to circle back to more included excursions because Vienna is a really good place to talk about. Now, I said more than 20 included excursions or 20 included excursions per 7-night sailing. Vienna is a good talking point because in Vienna, when you wake up in the morning, you've got a lot of included choices. You can take your city tour, choose your level of activity. Maybe you've been to Vienna before. You would like to do something different. Well, you can go on the back alleys of Vienna, or a cooking demonstration, or wine tasting, or art tour. All of these are included. You just have to choose. And as you're cruising with us, you'll notice that every place we stop, you have 3 to 5 options available of tours outside of just your city tour. So there's always going to be a lot of choices. And the reason we do that, it keeps our group small, but some of the people who've cruised with us have been to these places once or twice before and would like unique experiences. Or maybe they've been on these itineraries with us more than once before. They can come back and have a unique experience each time. And Vienna is another breathtaking place along the way. I mentioned all the tours that are available in the morning. This is the only place in all of Europe we cruise where there are some tours you can pay for later in the day. And it's because we stay here all day. It's the, oh my goodness, I went blank. Oh, there in the evening, we have a Mozart and Strauss concert. And if you have not heard classical musicians, Vienna has the best in the entire world. I actually grew up on classical music. My grandmother made sure that my cousins and I all loved Mozart first, and everybody else, it didn't matter where they fell in. And I have been to symphonies everywhere, and I will tell you that the best artists I have heard are right here. And there is also the palace in Vienna, where Marie Antoinette grew up. And that is also an excursion that you can purchase in the afternoon. Otherwise, you have the entire day and evening in Vienna. After your morning tour, you can move back and forth from the ship into town. We have motor coaches running to the town center. It's only a 15-minute walk to the town center, but not everybody feels like doing it. So we have motor coaches running every 30 minutes back and forth. And this is a beautiful city that you can explore. Bratislava, Slovakia is a hidden gem along the way. And the reason I call it a hidden gem, I have yet to meet somebody who was like, I can't wait to visit Bratislava. And Bratislava is a melting pot of cultures. You can walk from the ship to the town center in a couple of minutes. We are right there. You can see it from the ship. So your tour here is a walking tour. You walk off the ship, you go into town, you learn the history of Bratislava. Obviously, Slovakia used to be part of Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Again, this is one of my favorite places to buy gifts to bring home for my friends and family, souvenirs, because right in the town center, you're going to find a lot of shops where obviously there are things that you can kind of find anywhere. But there are a lot of shops here in Bratislava specifically that have handmade items from local artists that you can bring back I always like to bring things back for my friends and family when I'm traveling. Alternatively to your city tour, there is the Bratislava Castle. It's up on the hillside. You can take a tour to go and visit that as well. That would be our active walking tour. And then one of the highlights of the Danube is Budapest. Absolutely breathtaking. Again, we get some beautiful stops along the way. If you have not been to Budapest and you're doing this itinerary, do yourself a favor and book at least 2 nights after the cruise to stay here. because once you get to Budapest, you're going to realize I need more time in Budapest. We have a wonderful city tour. We do cross the chain bridge, go up to Fisherman's Bastion. That's where this picture was taken from. You see the Parliament. Now we do something really special here. Everybody used to do an illumination cruise in the evening of Budapest. A couple of years ago, there was a boating accident. And in this town, they were like, look, the larger river cruise vessels, you can't do your illumination tours anymore. So we position ourselves about 2 miles, I would say, down the river where we are going to disembark. So we head 2 miles down the river, we stop there, we send you out on your city tour, you come back, and then after dinner, we do a repositioning. And you're able to see the Parliament lit up, the statues along the mountainside. This is an absolutely stunning town in the evening. And again, you do get a wonderful city tour with us. But if you, again, have not been here, make sure you book a little extra time, because this is a place that you're going to want to spend more time in. That is the itinerary in a nutshell of the Romantic Danube. You've heard me talk about how we rate. We are literally the highest rated river cruise line in all of Europe. And we like to use Berlitz guides as a reference for that, because with all the years I've been in this industry, the one thing I've learned, anytime you open a publication and see #1 river cruise line, either very clever marketing went into place or somebody just simply paid to put it there. With Berlitz, it's a secret shopper. We have no idea where we're going to rank until they call us and say, hey, a new edition is coming out. This is where you placed. Well, they have put out 3 editions now, and each time 10 of our ships are the highest rated in the book. And the order that we come in with the highest ratings, it's our food, service, and amenities. So we truly are the highest rated river cruise line in all of Europe, and we are very consistent in how we operate. Now, that is all that I have. Obviously, I want to open things up for questions.